Bangers and Hash.
Welcome back to Bangers and Hash.
Bangers.
Here we are.
Hash.
Oh, jeebers. We got all the new stuff today, man. All the chill and relaxing. I forgot to turn one thing off on my recording device. We're good. It's no longer scrolling along.
Okay.
Keeping that in. Yeah, I forgot to turn the update while playing thing on, so it was going to distract me.
Gotcha.
I have ADHD real bad today where I'm just like on to the new topic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh, here to talk some new releases.
You did it wrong. I'm sorry. You did it wrong.
I thought that was the ending. I thought it was only the ending where we introduced. Oh, man. You're the Faceless Leon.
And that person over there, they're the Green Traveler from Gorsh? Thank you.
Gorsh?
This is Bangers and Hash. Bangers. This is Bangers and Hash, a podcast about breakfast. It's about movies and TV, just like our other show. You guys know that if you're here, because it's a Patreon-only show just for you guys. Oh, wait, that's right. We are going to share this one. We decided.
Yeah, we are sharing this one. Normally it would be just for our patrons.
That's right. But if you decide you like this show, come on down to patreon.com/creatingfaceless. It's exclusively there, except for this episode.
Yeah, because we felt bad because we were pretty late on the draw on this one.
We're pretty late on this one too. Yeah, just releasing this on everything. We're a whole week behind, and now we're a whole week and a couple days behind. But yeah, I've been busy.
It's a long story, and we've already discussed it in episodes past. I am reminded in thus saying that there was an NDA, and I have to say the From Gorsh part of Green Travel, that's just a joke. It's just a fake planet.
No, it's real. It was named by Goofy.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, exactly.
Upon discovery. Yeah. He's like, well,
it's an NDA, though.
There's a planet there.
There's nothing there. It's a fake thing. I made it up.
Yeah, that's right. I'm joking right now. NDA.
Yeah, no aliens. I mean, no aliens exist.
I'm not talking about the NDA because that's not what you do with an NDA.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like Fight Club. Shit. Let's see. I got 4 movies. You had 3 shows. Is that what you said?
That's right. Yeah. Maybe a little slim, but they definitely seem to have a theme. I thought they would have more of a theme, but I'm pretty sure I've already talked about one of the shows that I was going to talk about. So,
well, I guess I should probably start then. I'll start with the big, exciting drawing in of the episode, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, our blockbuster film, Disney's latest. Yeah, very, very sad. Yeah. Honestly, I went to see this. It was the midnight release in IMAX theaters. A friend of mine bought the tickets. Otherwise, I would not have ever done such a thing because midnight, I'm typically asleep on my couch by then. but I was willing to go to this one. I was geared. I was ready. I was excited because I didn't. Nobody really knew how this was going to go. Chadwick Boseman sadly passed away, and they had a sequel already planned, and they had to Ryan Coogler, the director and writer, had to kind of turn around and rework the plot, and it was kind of like I'm sure they gave him enough time to do so, but when you're in that kind of a creative atmosphere, you've already got something that you really like down on paper, and now you have to scrap it all, or most of it at least, and do a 180 and rework it. I think he did a hell of a job. I think this film has some issues. There are some very mild areas where I think the plot could have been handled better. It's very long. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I feel like they could have easily cut down some of it to 2 hours. Specifically, they bring back what's his name. I know the actor's name. I need to get the character's name pulled up real quick.
Morgan Freeman's character?
No. Martin Friedman as Everett Ross. Yeah. He's, he was in the first one. I love him from the Sherlock shows as
Sure.
Watson there. He's a great actor.
What
and The
about
Hobbit.
Bilbo? Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. I don't really like the Hobbit show.
No, the
movies.
movie.
Those-
But he did good.
Yeah.
He did the part.
Yeah, he was a good Bilbo. And like, I do like him as Everett Ross. I like that character, and I think he worked really well in the first one. But what really worked about him was his kind of chemistry with Chadwick Boseman, his play off of all of them. And he played off of Shuri a lot too.
Right.
So they still have that to work with. And, every other character from the first movie came back. Well, some characters obviously didn't. I won't go into it for spoilers. But with Everett Ross in this movie, a lot of his scenes just kind of feel like padding or kind of like trying to ground it with the first film. And it wasn't necessary for something that's already 2 hours and 40 minutes. If you cut Everett Ross from this film, you're down to like 2:15 and you have a much better film. Like, no offense to Martin Freeman.
This stinks.
But the rest of the film follows Wakanda and its struggles to, accept the fact that their king has died, to accept that, the Black Panther is gone. The rest of the world stupidly thinks them weakened because their warrior, their protector is gone. They don't have a Black Panther, therefore they must be weak and easily attackable. But they have their amazing queen, played by Angela Bassett. Why is her name? Why is she not at the top of the list here?
Yeah, jeez.
This is silly. Man, she's so far down. Ramonda. I was trying to find her name, but she's the queen, and she's presenting them on a public atmosphere.
I heard that she was particularly excellent in this movie.
Oh my god, brilliant! Like, there are so many just sentences that she says. I mean, even in the trailer, if you've seen the trailer, it's one of the best trailers I've seen in a while. But where she has that one line that comes near the end of the trailer, where she talks about like all of her loss that she's had and how she still has to rule a nation. Mm-hmm. And it's like that scene alone, it's just like, it hits you hard in the heart. Like, it's really good. And the whole movie opens up with the nice memorial to Chadwick Boseman, where the entire, the Marvel intro, where you have the word Marvel portrayed, and you see all the characters in the comic book format. That was all Chadwick Boseman, and it's really, really moving. You're just like almost instantly brought to tears because it's so sad. But they do a really good job honoring him. Letitia Wright as Shuri is incredible as well, I thought. And, her dealing with her emotions, her new role as, the princess, the next in line if Ramonda were to pass or be killed. So that, there's a lot of that. It's kind of similar to the first movie's emotions with Black Panther. So, it's not really working new ground. It's nothing new for the MCU, but it's a really good emotional film. And the big chunk of the film, the drama that, if you've seen the trailer, about, is Ironheart is introduced, played by Riri Williams is her name. Ironheart's person's name. Ironheart is her superhero name. She's played by Dominique Thorne. And she is an MIT student who has created technology.
I heard they were going to make an Ironheart movie, but I didn't know that she appeared in this one.
It's a show, I believe. They might have reworked it into a movie, but it's going to be one of their Disney Plus shows next year, I think. Okay.
Well, we don't know yet.
Yeah, I don't really remember. But
it's the Igerning.
Yeah, she created something that, finds the metal in Wakanda. I can't remember what it's called.
Vibranium.
Thank you, yeah. And it endangers Atlantis because Atlantis, turns out, has some kind of vibranium or something. I can't remember what. I don't really remember the plot. I saw this a month and a half ago. Yeah. And a lot of it's kind of slipped away. But it endangers Atlantis, and Atlantis' king, played by, let me get his name here, Tenoch Magia as Namor. Amazing as Namor. I think this is his breakout role. I don't think this is his first role.
I think he's acted in his home country.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
Yeah.
And this is his big international breakthrough. And he's amazing in this. I really liked him as Namor. There's a lot of good personality to this character. He doesn't quite live up to the Killmonger hype. Killmonger was an amazing fucking villain. I love Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger, and that was him and Chadwick Boseman were everything for that movie.
Yeah.
And so this film, had a lot to make up for. And I don't think Namor or, Shuri stepping into Chadwick Boseman's role as like the lead character, I don't think they really quite live up, but it's still good. It's not, I don't want to like say either of them are, not as great, because like that feels very insulting, because they both deliver amazingly, but it's just not in the same realm as what Killmonger brought in.
The story between Killmonger and Black Panther was just very personal between the two characters. So and also there was a lot of social commentary with his story as well. That worked in a lot of ways.
And I do like there's a good message in this one. There's a lot more. There was a lot of good female characters in the first one, but there's more female empowerment in this film, because a lot of your main characters, you got Shuri, Angela Bassett, like all of the Dora Milaje. They got, I'll just shout them out here real quick. You got Okoye, played by Danae Gurira, Ayo by Florence Kasumba, Anika by Michaela Coel, who was amazing. I loved her in this. No, I'm forgetting somebody. Oh, Nakia comes back, played by Lupita Nyong'o.
Nice.
She's back in it. So, like, you got a lot of really amazing female stars heading this film, and the action is a lot of fun, too. I do think the action was way better in this movie. The action and the cinematography is really beautiful, so they do a really good job at capturing some really cool fight scenes. They do overutilize slow-mo a little too much. There's a lot of slow-mo, like, water effects, where you have...
Especially in a long movie. Like, come on.
Yeah. I know. It would slow down, and I would be like, come on, man. If you were just get rid of these moments, we'd be down 10 minutes more. But no, everything really works. I do like the emotion of it. I gave it 3 stars, and I think it's an easily recommendable and fun Marvel film. It's got some issues that, like, it's end credits. Don't stick around for a post-credit scene. There isn't one. There's just a message. We didn't know that. We sat through the 10 minutes of credits, and it was just Black Panther will return in the future. And it's like, well, yeah, no fucking duh. Good. Like, yeah, that was really annoying. And its mid-credit scene literally could have just been tacked on to the finale scene, the very last scene. And you could have either done another mid-credit scene or just not have one. Like, it was really stupid for them to have the final scene cut, do their flashy credits, and then the mid-credit scene opens up literally at the exact same spot, and that scene just continues. And I was like, fucking why? Like, it was so weird. Like, there's some choices that were made that were just stupid. But I do want to say there's a scene with Shuri. It's a very emotional scene, but it made me very hyped. I won't spoil it, but there's some cameos that I fucking loved. I will say that.
Nice.
So there, go see it.
Well,
check it out.
I gotta say it's probably the most excited for one of these movies that I have been for a while, and it is one that I thought would get me back going to the theaters again. But we need a car, so we're gonna save that money instead. But yeah, I'm definitely, when it comes out to stream, I'm definitely gonna be there to watch it. We still haven't watched Love and Thunder, so we almost
haven't watched what? Sorry,
Love and Thunder.
I missed that. Oh yeah.
Well, I guess it makes it my turn. Is it my turn?
It makes you. It does.
Okay. Well, I want to talk about. This is not what I teased throughout the week. I'm gonna save that. Since you did what you teased. I watched this little documentary. It's an hour and a half, but it is on Netflix, and it is called Orgasm Inc. The story.
Ooh, I like that.
Of One Taste. Yeah.
Ooh.
So have you ever heard of One Taste?
I have not.
Me either. It sounds like a food, like a meal delivery plan, like, the pre-prepared food that you cook,
Following the words Orgasm Inc., it makes me think of something else.
It's not what that, what I said.
Okay.
So, One Taste is a company that came about due to this woman who basically, in the long run, it turns out that she was a con woman. But her name is Nicole Daedon. I think that's how you say her name. And
I will not make fun of it.
And she believes, or said that she believed that the power of the female orgasm could make the world a better place. Like, she even has like a TED Talk and stuff that from years ago and stuff like that. So she did have some science that was behind this, that she used as the basis of this company that was teaching oming. That's what they call it, which is orgasmic meditation. It's an abbreviation.
Nice.
So this is, it is basically a sex act, but it is a prolonged act that is supposed to be a meditative state for the woman. So
is she saying that having orgasms like gives them like ideas that are conducive to human evolution, or like?
I think what she is working towards initially, or what her message was to increase intimacy to and awareness of your own female body, and also just to help you open up. There's a lot about opening up. Let me tell you about that.
Yeah, I just figured that when you said like it was, she thought that female orgasms make the world a better place. I thought maybe that she had like good scientific evidence that some of the best inventors in the world, like their like designs have come after having orgasms. They're like, oh my god.
That's really funny. But no, the scientific evidence that she uses as the basis for this is that scientists have found this spot that most to all women have next to the left side of their clitoris. There's a surprising nerve bundle there that if you stroke just that spot, something happens to the woman that they call nailed in her rhetoric, and that they just basically just like, they basically just seize up. They can't really do anything there, and then she teaches them
like when you grab the nape of a neck of a cat.
Sure, yeah. And she, the woman then would be doing this for 15 minutes, usually with a man stroking her. And the idea is for the man to be with her there, going up and down, to improve their intimacy, basically was the thought. And it was getting a lot of recognition and stuff. But eventually, people started realizing that she was just trying to get away with as much shit as she could. And she would keep on pushing the envelope of what it meant to what it meant to orgasm. And in fact, one former member said that one day he realized that almost every month his definition of what an orgasm was changed until orgasm was God and God was Nicole. And he approached her about it, and he's like, "You're trying to start a religion, aren't you?" And she says, "Well, yeah, I would love to start a religion, but you can't sell God, so I'm selling sex."
Hey, man, like...
Yeah, I know. I'm like, it probably would have roped me in, I have to say. There were sessions of oming for men where the women would do it for the men, but they never publicly like announced that and stuff. That wasn't technically a part of the program because of the social dynamics. I thought, if they were going to make a religion, then it should maybe go both ways. But definitely the women were at the hierarchy. They are the ones giving the gift. And in fact, she did eventually make high priestesses and priests for this thing. So it was separate from One Taste, but basically One Taste was just a tool to bring them into this cult. And now she's on the run. People don't really know where she is.
Oh, gosh.
Like the last time she posted something, she was like in Bali or something like that.
My God.
Because the FBI started investigating because there's people who are like, hey, I just came out of this experience and I thought it would be good for me, but at the end, I realized that I was manipulated into doing sexual acts that I didn't want to do.
Okay. Yeah, but when you put it like that, that's fair. Yeah, when they're being manipulated into sexual acts, they don't want that. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what I'm hearing is like, this lady's telling us to have sex and she's making a religion out of it. And that's just,
so like,
we don't like that.
So I don't know how far into making it an established thing it got. There was one former member who said that when that happened, when they started making religious elements and started doing rituals, he was one of the first to be asked to be a priest. And he had already been a little bit disenchanted by Nicole at this point, but he still believed in the oming system. And so he said, oh, okay, this kind of makes sense. You know, we turn it into a religion and then we get a tax break. That makes sense. Business-wise, to him, it made sense. So he kept on going along with it until eventually he was like, no. And him and his partner left, eventually.
Every business longs to be a religion.
Yeah. and that will, you know, if we didn't take turns on this, that would be a perfect segue into my second thing. But I'll take a break and let you talk.
Did you give it a face?
Oh, yeah, I give this movie a face. It is very interesting. I wish there was more information about Nicole herself in it. But the thing is that a lot of people really know her backstory, which is a very common thing with, you know, con people. They do think that she was a stripper and maybe possibly a sex worker. And she was very evidently very smart because she would quote these different religious texts and stuff. So like obviously she had to read and study them. It was interesting. I just wish there was a little bit more on her individually to try to understand what it was that she thought she was trying to do. But it seems all in all, the opinion of the former members is that she just wanted to manipulate people and have people following her.
Yeah, those kind of shows aren't really my shtick, but it's very fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
My next film is The Menu.
I did.
Directed by Mark Mylod and written by Seth Race and Will Tracy. Yeah, very fascinating. It's a black comedy film. It hooked me because, obviously, Anya Taylor-Joy, she is the main character. She plays Margot.
Margot Robbie?
No, she plays Margot. Just Margot. It says here Margot Mills, but I don't ever remember her last name being mentioned in the movie. So
but what a strange movie that would be, Anya Taylor-Joy playing Margot Robbie.
Yeah, it wouldn't really work, I don't think. But no, she plays Margot, who is invited to a very fancy, like, high-class foodie restaurant which the main chef,
4 Michelin stars.
Yeah, like all the shit, like top food critics go there, and it's like it's very fancy and posh, and like I would never understand how to live, like go there.
Right.
Like if I were to be at this restaurant, I would be so confused and out of place, and everybody would be laughing at me because I used the wrong fork. You know, it's like it's that kind of a place. Like everything is so pristine and designed. And you have the main chef who is, man, I'm struggling finding through cast lists here. Ralph Fiennes, playing Julian Slowik, who is a celebrity chef. Slowik, or Slowik, I don't know. But he is huge in the industry, like top chef. Everybody knows this guy. He is the best of the best. You know, he and his crew, they are on a secluded island where you have to take a boat out to the restaurant. And, you know, it costs like, I can't remember the price, but it's like $5,000 per person to go to this restaurant. And you're served a meal that's incredibly themed. You know, it's like 8 dishes, all planned out, all well themed. There's a message in it. You know, he's trying to he's telling a story through food. And Margot goes there with Tyler, played by Nicholas Hoult, who I remember as the Witness Me guy from Mad Max Fury Road. The guy who sprays his face and yells like, "Notice me" or whatever, "Witness me."
He's in The Great as well as the Emperor.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I have not watched that, but you are right.
He's also plays Beast in the strangest casting ever.
That's right, yeah. The X-Men's Beast, not Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, right.
Oh my god. It's really weird. But he is good. I really enjoy his acting, and he's really funny here because he is a very snobbish person. Like, he will smack your hand, like it's in the trailer. He smacks Anya Taylor-Joy's hand away from like grabbing food so that he can take a photo of it, because he is very much the guy who has to take photos of his food and post them on Instagram. And he does that even though he is told when they get to the restaurant, he is very loudly told, do not take photos of the food. He still sneaks photos of literally every single dish. It gets kind of weird. You kind of start wondering why his attitude is the way it is, because it turns out that the twist of the movie is that the theme, what Ray Fiennes is trying to, imply to people, is that the rich take, and it's time that they get their lesson. And he's pretty much planning to kill everybody. He is very upfront that everybody that has come to the event tonight, it's going to be his last event. His restaurant is going out with a bang by killing all these rich people that came to his event, which include a top film critic or a food critic.
He's Voldemort again.
His performance literally had Voldemort vibes. There are so many times where he would like look at the screen and I would just see Voldemort and just be like, damn, like he's really pulling deep for this role. Like it sounds like a joke, but he actually is amazing in this movie. Like, I really loved his performance. The food critic, Lillian Bloom, played by Janet McTeer, who is, just as snobbish as Nick Hoult. All these critics are very snobbish people, and it's very funny coming, as a critic to watch this. I'm like, yeah, fuck these people. Like,
food
fuck
critic,
them all
though,
up.
I feel like that's another breed.
Yeah, that's a little stronger tiered than what we are.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a little more rigorous, what do I want to say?
I feel like we have the ability to make people cry, but we probably don't. And or if they do, it's not intended.
Right. Yeah, we're not here to hurt anybody's feelings.
Whereas a food critic would be, really, really happy, really mirthful if you were to bring, say, your finest glass of the chef's tears to their table.
Right.
They'd be like, oh, good. Yes, I will drink this.
Also, like, a meal is just so personal. Like, you cook a meal for somebody, and then they're like, no, this is the worst fucking garbage I've ever eaten in the world. And you're like, if only they could have tried a different meal that I had. Like, I made it so well the other day. Whereas with a movie, there's so many fucking people that see the same movie. And yes, they're going to hear critics talk about it, and that will mess with their psyche, but they didn't, make it from scratch. There were so many other people involved.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's easier to take in. Yeah, I can understand that.
Course,
I have such a very weird...
I haven't been criticized, so...
Yeah. Well, when you're big in the movie, it's like that's a little different once you're a bigger name. But I don't know, I have such a weirdly different relationship to food where it's like, it's not really personal to me. If I make a meal and people hate it, I'm just like, oh, I'm sorry guys, I made a shit meal. That's happened before. I was like, you guys want to try this? And I could tell people aren't really into it. I'm like, that's all right.
Yeah.
I don't need to make this again. But at the same time too, when I'm eating somebody else's meal, I'm just eating. I'm just consuming. I'm not really, I can go a whole day with barely eating anything and not realize it. It's a problem. I know it is, but it's not, I've eaten the same meals. I'm such a bland eater that I don't know. Food's not you know, when I watch this movie, it's very hilarious to me when I'm watching the menu and all the jokes they're making and everything, because it just seems a little ludicrous.
Oh, over the top.
All these, yeah, like all these things that they're like when they're talking about the meals and the prep work and everything, and like Nicholas Hoult is like, everything is a story. He's telling us a message with each dish. I'm like laughing inwardly. I'm like, dude, he's just fucking making you a steak. Like, what are you talking about? Like, like, come on. But it's really, he really is telling a story through his meals. Like, it really is an actual thing. And I really love the humor of it. As things start to go crazy, as people start to get cut and die maybe, and shit starts to get a little real, it gets crazy fun. And, you know, it's like, it's really enjoyable. Like, my audience was laughing a lot. Good. And I was laughing with them. I'm going to talk later about a film where my audience was laughing and I was not, and how weird that experience was. But with this one, it was great how we were all together just, like, really loving the fuck out of this movie. And all the performances are good. I want to talk that John Leguizamo is in this. As an actor who is a name drop actor, he's like, I know the chef. Of course I know the chef. Like, we're best friends. They're not really, but, you know, he's got to do that. He even makes fun of a film that was very comedic that he didn't really want to do, and people make a lot of fun about because the movie fucking sucked. And, you know, it's very much has a lot of those, like, Super Mario vibes. And, like, and other, I'm sure John Leguizamo films that he's probably a little regretful of. But it was fun. It seemed like everybody was having a really good time with their roles and their characters. And I just feel like there's some elements that don't have, like, a really good development or conclusion, and that's like really the only issue, is that there's just like there's so many subplots and like many characters that it just feels like some things don't quite get the resolution they deserve.
Right.
But overall, I had a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. It's 3.5 stars.
Nice. I definitely want to watch that one. You know, for the cast, and I like dark comedies a lot too, typically, and it just seems like a fun one.
Yeah, this was like one of the best dark comedies I've seen in a long time. Like, I don't know.
Good ones don't come out very often, I feel like.
Yeah, they don't really get well. Like, I feel like people love them, but they don't love them enough to see them in theaters.
Right. Yeah. That's one thing that I'm not very happy about the current economic situation, is that I can't directly support this art medium that I love. Like, I used to call the movie theater my fourth home. And that's because I was a child of divorce, and we also went to church a lot. So,
no, I agree with you. I was there literally every week, and now I kind of have to talk myself to go into the theater. Like, literally today, I was like, I'm going to go see a movie. You know, there's a movie out that I wanted to see, so I was like, I'm going to go see it. But as it got closer and closer, I'm just like, man, I really just want to go home to my dog. Like, I wish this movie was just released on a streaming platform so I could just go home and watch it. And I'm just like, I don't want to go to the theater. And I felt guilty about it, too, which is annoying.
Yeah.
Oh, like, it's not my fault I don't go see this film.
Yeah.
I just don't want to see it sometimes.
Yeah. I just am tired. And I want to be tired in my house where I cannot wear shoes if I want. Well, do you want to talk about more cults or talk about a comedy dramedy series? Comedy dramedy.
Let's keep the comedy dramedy for the to hype up for the end.
All right.
Yeah, let's talk more Colts.
Okay,
baby.
We're talking more Colts.
Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, that's right. This is all about baby horses.
Sports ball.
Sports ball. And baby horses. So, this is The Vow, which I have tried to hype up a little bit. It is an HBO Max original, and it goes very in-depth into the NXIVM self-help company, I guess, but really it's a cult. And I mean, this one more so than the other one, people had to like step back and be like, oh shit, I am in a cult. You know, at least the other one, people were like, okay, I mean, maybe it is a bit culty, but I have become more intimate with people, and I am fucking. This one has an element of that too, but is definitely a little more twisted, I would say. NXIVM started when this very intelligent person, he claims to have the highest IQ out of everyone living, but I don't know if that's true. But his name...
He hasn't met me yet.
I'm so smart, my penis touches the floor when I walk.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know those two were even related. I guess I'm not as smart as you.
So, Keith Raniere is this man's name. And he got his start by starting this company in the 90s that was like a super saver company where people would call in and be like, hey, yeah, I would love to save money on groceries, utilities, all sorts of different shit. But also you could call and be like, hey, I'm looking for this, but I don't know where to find it. And then these people, this group of people will help you find it by doing the telephone calls for you. It's basically like smart shopping before the internet was super popular. Anyhow, it turned out that he was apparently doing some embezzlement, and it was basically just a pyramid scheme, a very well disguised pyramid scheme.
Shit.
That all crumbled underneath his feet, and then he met Nancy Saltzman, and she was a therapist who tried to work with pain management. And she worked a lot with the mind-body pain response and also with hypnotism to help alleviate some of this pain, you know. And so she meets him thinking like the work that she's doing really isn't helping people the way that she wants. And he has all these great ideas. You know, he writes them down, he sends them to her, and she's like, I think my headphone lost battery. So, okay, I'm back on the headphone. You look like you farted and you're trying to escape it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Their turtleneck goes over their green face so well.
Oh my god, let me tell you, I bought a turtleneck today that is so fucking huge that when I put it on, I literally couldn't see over the top of the turtleneck.
Nice.
And like I had to fold it down like 4 times until I was like, you better fucking believe I bought that shit.
You bought it? Nice.
I bought it. It looks so funny. I love it. I'll get into turtlenecks. It's really a thing.
We ran into some quick technical difficulty, and I know I was in the middle of a synopsis. But I think I remember vaguely where I left off. He meets Nancy Saltzman. They make the modules for what they want to do. And basically, it's a program. Like, you get in touch with the people, and what did they call it? SOP was the group that did it, but it was not ohming. It was not auditing. And I think I mentioned what it was earlier when I was hyping up the show earlier, but I can't recall. Anyways, he ends up getting popular by getting people to enlist that are celebrities. And hold on, I kind of want to come back to that because I want to mention that when they finally got everything kicked off and started, he was never actually officially a member of it, but was called the co-founder. And that's for legal reasons because he had all that trouble with that first company that he had. So he was called Vanguard, though, because he's the guy with the ideas and stuff like that.
I remember you hyping that up.
Yes.
I like that.
And the reason why he picked it was because it was a video game, arcade game that he had in his garage.
Hell yeah.
Hell
yeah. And it's fucking awesome.
So Nancy...
I am Vanguard.
So Nancy gets to be called Proctor, and she becomes the teacher it's basically for them it just meant teacher. And she teaches the modules to these people. It basically is like facing your fear in a very short amount of time with psychological questions that make you think about, your life and why you're not achieving your goals and stuff like that. I wish I remember what exactly the term was that they used. EMing. That's what it was. It's called EMing. And it's an abbreviation for something, but I don't recall.
I hate proctor also because it makes me think of rectum.
Yeah, proctologist.
Proctologist.
Yeah. Anyways,
that's just a bad name.
They make all these videos of Nancy. This is another really weird thing about the cult, is that it may be the most well documented cult ever, because it's the late 90s, 2000 teens, and he gets these Hollywood people involved, not necessarily Hollywood people, but these people who are actors and movie makers involved, especially one person, Mark Vicente. And Mark Vicente kind of becomes this guy's best friend and his personal video maker for this this organization. So there's so much video evidence of what this guy says and stuff like that. And it's like, he gets you in with this processing, that actually does seem to have some help for these people. And then he comes in and starts with all these psychological manipulation tactics. But you're already bought in, so you don't see it until you look back, once you realize what has happened to you, look back over all this footage that you've taken. It's been like, this is some crazy shit this guy's talking. And I ate it up.
Yeah.
There's so many episodes that's really hard to say everything that there is.
Yeah.
I really enjoy this because it's so freaking in depth, and you got to thank Mark Vicente for that, especially for the first season, because once they get out, they're going around and trying to help other people get out. And one thing that happens, and the reason why they get out, is that they find out that there was a secret organization within this thing, and they had all sorts of groups under this umbrella, NXIVM, for different things. Like there was a group just for women, a group just for men, a group for people who wanted to act, all this kind of stuff. But DOS was a secret sorority of women who pledged a vow to a master who was another woman, and became their slave. And there was also a branding ritual and all this stuff.
Oh my God.
Yes. So one person, the best friend of this Mark Vicente person, she got involved. Her name is Sarah Edmondson, and she was an actor who was in some things. Speaking of Mark's wife, Bonnie Peace, I think is how you say her name. She plays Luke's, this being Luke Skywalker's aunt in the newer interpretations of the Star Wars universe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, in Obi-Wan, so she was most recently in Obi-Wan, but she became this character, I believe, in Rogue One, and then very shortly after that became involved, or no, it was the prequels that she was in. She was in the prequels, and then very shortly became involved with this organization, married Mark. She was actually the first one to leave because she found out about this DOS thing before a lot of other people. Eventually, Sarah helped Mark realize that it was real because she had gotten swept up in it, and she had the brand on her, and she realized that the brand was actually Keith Raniere's initials, just made into a special way. And if you looked at it a different way, it was also somebody else's initials, Allison Mack. Do you remember Allison Mack?
No.
Okay, well, she was a childhood star, and she also wasn't necessarily interviewed for this, but she was a main character in Smallville, and she was the blonde reporter for the high school paper. That was one of Clark's best friends. Anyways, she basically started DOS with Keith. She was so in love with this master guru guy and started having sex with him because he was very much a sex addict and very much used his power to get what he wanted with women particularly. Yeah, so she helped him start this organization that made this chain of masters and slaves like a pyramid scheme. And all these women would eventually rise up to have this opportunity to have sexual relations with Keith. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So basically, basically when that all got found out, this guy, Mark Vicente, got out and got a bunch of people out with his wife and along with Sarah and her husband. Then finally he got pressed charges and he fled to Mexico. And then the second season is about him getting caught.
Oh my God, 2 seasons.
Yeah. and it's kind of strange because Mark Vicente stops being and Sarah Edmondson stop being like the main focus. And it's more a focus of the trial and witnesses that came forward during the trial. And also people who are still supporting this guy that were even a part of this DOS system because they were just so convinced that everything within this sorority was just an extension of these teachings because he and Allison Mack intentionally used terms that were being used for this system that they had already accomplished, like collateral and penance being two of the main words. So basically, to become a part of this system, you had to give up like a secret. So basically, you had to give them something to blackmail you with before they let you into this group. And then you feel like you can't leave. Very, very classic tactics in the end.
Yeah.
But it's
Why
just...
would you join that? It's just so crazy.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. And by the way, Nancy Saltzman, she had like an inkling that this guy was messed up sexually wise, but she figured as long as everybody's consenting, what's the deal?
Yeah.
And she believed in this program so much, but really she was brainwashed by him as well. And he was using her as a front to get people in, to give him credibility. So she went to prison as well, not for very long. Her daughter, who was really mixed up in it, and also like one of the higher members in DOS, she, just snapped out of her daydream of it, or whatever you want to call it, and realized how bad things were that she was doing. And she pled guilty, and a whole bunch of people were like, hey, she was brainwashed since she was like 16. You guys got to take it easier on her. And she had just a short probationary period, time served kind of thing that happened for her. But Keith Raniere, like 150 years or something like that in prison. Allison Mack, she in her trial said, hey, I have been going to therapy. I realize now how wrong it was what I did, but I did it, kind of thing. And she's also in prison. Yeah.
Good.
So crazy fucking shit. This shit happens in real life. It's still happening today. Obviously, this trial was, I think, in 2020. So, yeah, in fact, it was, because at one point everybody starts wearing masks and less people are allowed in the courtroom. It's like right at the start of the pandemic.
Man, that's crazy shit.
Yep, sure is.
And I never heard about any of it.
Yep.
Although I do recognize Allison Mack now that I looked her up. I was like, okay, I know who you're talking about. By face, though, I don't really remember Smallville. I remember bits and pieces of Smallville, so I'd be interested in going back to that someday.
I was watching Smallville when I discovered not this show, but about this sex call. And it must have been during the pandemic because I was looking for something to watch, HBO Max was a thing at this point. So I was starting to watch it, and then you hear that she went to jail. And I was like, oh, yeah. Wait, what for? And it's like, for this weird sex call shit? Oh, God, I don't think I can watch this show the same way anymore. So I put it down.
Well, now you know why he's with Lois.
Oh, speaking of, the person who plays Lana in the show, she was a part of the cult for a short time as well. But she left very early on after, things were turning south. But I feel like after I've seen this, I can give Allison Mack another chance because it seems like she was very highly manipulated, you know.
Well, fuck, let's take a soda pop break.
Yeah.
And come back to wrap her up.
Sounds good. We'll be right back.
I go. I love you. Are we back?
Oh, we can be back. We can be.
I think we're back.
Yeah, me too.
It's me up, and I'm coming at you with Disney's latest animation. Their 61st animated film, Strange World. Disney's Strange World.
Oh, right. It's a Marvel movie. So weird.
Not Marvel, Disney movie.
I thought it was Doctor Strange.
No, it's its own little animation. It's just
The guy looks like an animation of Benedict Cumberbatch then.
Really? I don't
know.
See it.
I just was under a weird impression that it was a Doctor Strange movie.
That is weird because when I saw it has if you see the trailer, it's got a lot of pulp magazine, like really classic sci-fi shout-outs. It's very Journey to the Center of the Earth or King Kong. Like it's got a very B science film feel. Like I really love that trailer. It's very, very awesome. Like it makes me think like War of the Worlds.
I recall seeing the trailer now, but no, I had
and
no idea.
The main character I thought looked like John Krasinski. I thought it was John Krasinski doing a voice. It's not. It's Jake Gyllenhaal playing Searcher Clade. At the beginning of the film, Searcher Clade is out exploring with his father, Jaeger Clade. And Jaeger Clade is played by Dennis Quaid. Don't get all that confused. I know. It's very a lot of rhymes and names there. But Jaeger Clade is very, very intent on exploring beyond the mountains. That's all he cares about. He just wants to explore beyond the mountains. He doesn't care about his kid, really. He cares about his legacy. And he wants, if he dies, he wants his kid's legacy to be to finish his legacy, to explore beyond the mountains. He wants it to be a family legacy kind of thing. But Searcher, Jake Gyllenhaal, he's not really like that. Like the whole point is to help their village back home because their village is like running out of resources or whatever. And, his father thinks the answer lies beyond the mountains. But when they get up into the mountains, Searcher finds this plant. It's Pondo Power Source or whatever. I can't remember. It's been a while. But like he finds this plant that is, it can energize the entire city. And he's like, Dad, this isn't, the answer's not beyond the mountain. We found the answer right here. Let's take this back to the village and we'll save the village. And his father refuses and continues on. But Searcher goes back home with the rest of the mountaineers and they become heroes because they save the village.
Right.
But his father is gone. His father just left. Just continued on with the quest.
Stubborn man.
Yeah, cut forward years later to where Searcher Clade is now a father himself. He is married to Meridian, played by Gabrielle Union, and they have a kid, Ethan Clade, played by Jabuki Young White. And it took Disney 61 animated movies, but we finally got here, folks. They have a main character who is openly gay. Nice. And it took a very long time, but Ethan Clade is openly gay, and the nicest part about it is that's it. It's just a thing. He has a boyfriend, and the movie doesn't spend time focusing on the parents talking about it or people reacting to it. It's just normal.
It's just life. It's just how people are.
And it's nice because I just feel like there's. I only mention it because I feel like whenever a show or a movie has an LGBT character, they feel like they have to like call it out.
Yeah, that has to be a part of their storyline.
And it's like they want to market it as that. And I feel like Disney did a good job at not marketing it as that because I didn't know anything about it until I went into theaters and I was like, oh, this is nice. There we go. Good job, Disney. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I feel like it's weird because this movie is bombing horribly at the box office. And I feel like part of it is because it was under-marketed. Mm. So it's like it's a really weird area where I'm at, a very gray area, where it's like I feel like they should have marketed it better, and maybe marketing it as having a LGBTQ character for Disney for the very first time might have helped it, maybe. I don't know. But at the same time, I'm happy that they didn't, because it's like, it's just, they're trying to, it's like a normal thing, and it's really nice how they present it. I really do applaud this film.
That's probably, I would say, I feel like they've been pretty smart on the political change, the social change aspect anyways. That sounds about right. Like, they didn't want, over hyping it would make it feel like marketing it for profit's sake. And it's like,
right.
That's not what the gay community needs right now. They need overall acceptance.
And, like, I want to applaud the film for it at the same time. Like, it was really nice. I do enjoy the plot line between Searcher and his father, Jaeger, as well as Searcher and his son, Ethan. And how throughout the whole movie, there's, like, this nice story of understanding that it's not the family's legacy, it's your legacy. It's nice. You doing what is best for you. And I really enjoy how the film handles that and tells that story. At the same time, this film is really fucking boring. Like, I'm really kind of upset at how boring the script is. It's very conventional. Like, you kind of, like, once you see something, you immediately know what's following that. It's like they give you plot point A, and you can easily get to Z in your own head within 5 minutes, and you still realize you have an hour and 45 minutes left of movie to watch. But you already know everything that's going to happen because it's very fucking obvious.
That's disappointing.
And there's so much of that. And there's a lot of voice work, too, that I don't want to, like, harp on the voice work because I think everybody's good. Like, Lucy Liu is the only other name I haven't really mentioned. She plays the president of the village. And, she does a good job. Alan Tudyk has a very small role. And, I love Alan Tudyk. We both do. But, like, there's just a lot of the voice work, even though it's good, it felt very much we're in the studio just talking into a microphone. Like, it didn't feel like the characters were there. Like, they were in the scenarios they were experiencing. And maybe it's just me being, I don't know, focusing too much on it. But, like, Jake Gyllenhaal especially, like, I don't know, there's a lot of, like, not a lot of heart in this Disney film, which is very weird for an animation. Yeah. It's very underwhelming. And it was very disappointing, and I was kind of sad, but I do like, I don't know, it's very weird. It's like, I love the messaging in this film, because I think there's a lot of good stuff to say, but they didn't hammer it all as well as Disney normally does. They didn't polish it off really well and neat. And so the animation's beautiful, but the script just is not there. It's not hitting right. So I give it 2.5 stars. It's kind of like, wait until it's on Disney Plus. Don't go see it in the theaters, which really sucks because this movie is like $100 million in the hole. But
ouch.
Yeah.
Because really animation is expensive.
Yeah. And I do have a final shot, like the world this whole film takes place in. I don't know. It's like, it hits a really nice nerdy spot for me. Like, it's nothing new, and it's definitely like an Easter egg or a shout out to certain sci-fi epics before it. But, like, when they did it, I was just like, oh, that's nice. Like, it's got moments. It still gets 2.5 stars. It's got moments. It's very underwhelming and disappointing.
That's too bad. It definitely sounds like something that I would have liked it as a kid, and nobody else would have.
Right.
Like, it's boring, Blake. But it's like, so no, it's cool, sci-fi fun.
You're all dumb.
You're all dumb. Well, something that's not sci-fi at all, but does include a little bit of CGI, is killing it. New this year, Peacock original series starring
Peacock.
Yeah, Peacock. Starring Greg Robinson. Not Greg, Craig. I'm sorry. You know Craig Robinson? You know what I'm talking about? Okay.
But it's not. Wait, it is Craig Robinson, not Greg Robinson?
Not Greg.
Craig,
yeah,
okay.
Craig.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, he's on The Office, okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's fun.
He plays Craig, and
good.
Yeah. He is the star.
Is this in the same universe as This Is the End?
No, he is not actually playing Craig Robinson.
Dang it.
But he is living in Florida near the Everglades, And he is just trying. Oh, actually, Miami. They do mention it's Miami. And he's trying so hard to make his dream of being an American entrepreneur work. At the start of the movie, he is working as a security guard at a bank, and he is going to have a meeting with the general manager or whatever to pitch a business idea to start planting these berries in a plot of swampland that are only grow in Florida, and pharmaceutical companies want them very, very much because they help reduce prostate growth. They shrink your prostate. So it's great for basically any male over 50. And he wants to get into this business, and he really believes in it. So one of the first things that you see is him in bed giving this pitch as he's like getting ready through the day. It's like it's a monologue over a montage, and it's interesting. I like how they do it. And he's getting ready, and he knocks on his daughter's door and says, "Vanessa, get ready." Vanessa's played by Jet Miller, and he is split from her mom, Camille, played by Stephanie Nogueras, and she is deaf. Camille is. So there is some sign going on in this show, and it's another interesting factor, I think. And he goes and takes her there, and he's like, "It's an important day. Will you please take her to school today? I have this meeting." And he goes in, meets with his boss, starts his pitch, and his boss is like, "Wait a minute. Are you trying to get a loan?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's why I set up this meeting." And the guy thought it was actually like... It was a racist joke about the boss dressing up as Shaq at the Halloween party. He's like, somebody complained to corporate, and I just assumed it was you because you are the only person I haven't talked to about it.
That's awful.
Nah, and Craig was like, "Oh, nah, that didn't bother me. Let me talk to you about these berries." And the guy's like, "Because I just had makeup on my chest and my arms. My not on my face. I wore a mask. You remember. I know the rules." That shit was stupid, but cracked me up. Anyways, he gets denied. Basically because he's black, and that is upsetting, but anyways, moving on. He also, he comes to his brother Isaiah complaining about this. Isaiah's played by Rel Battle, and he's complaining about how it didn't work out for him, and Isaiah's like, "You should go back in there right now and say, 'Hey, I've worked here for 10 years. I feel like that you should know that I am a responsible person, and I should have the respect of anybody else as a small business person.'" And so he goes in to start talking to his boss, and at that moment, the bank gets robbed, and he wasn't where he was supposed to be. And Isaiah is the one who robs the bank. So Isaiah is like this criminal, but he and Craig love each other, so they talk to each other all the time. But Isaiah just, anytime he gets information from Craig, he's gonna use it. He's just an opportunist that way. Including Craig goes to this like big business convention that's like an inspirational thing, but really just a big old scam for these people to make a lot of money off of you, including Rodney LaMonca, played by Tim Heidecker. He runs this convention called Diamondine. I don't know. It's something stupid. Dominine, because it's better than Dominate.
Tim Heidecker's Tim and Eric, right?
I think so. Let me do a clicky.
I do love him. If that is him.
Yes, Tim and Eric. You're right. And he is pretty funny, but also stupid, and very much making fun of rich people. And Isaiah scams this convention, and then he gets caught scamming the convention, and he starts working for Rodney to try to, scam him. And that gets him in a lot of trouble. Let's step back. It's called Killing It because Craig, to make money, gets in with this lady named Jillian Gloop, or Jillian G as he calls her constantly. He hooks up with her through Uber just to get a ride, but ends up helping her kill pythons to reduce the ecological damage that they are causing in the Everglades. And apparently people get paid, it's like $10 a foot for a python. And, they're usually like...
$10 a foot? That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good because most of them are at least 6 feet. And that's the young ones. And so, you can get ones that are like 22 feet long, and they're just taking over the Everglades. So Jillian is played by Claudia O'Doherty. I'm not very good with, I think, Irish names. Yeah. But she is an Australian, and she is really, really struggling. So her dad moved her here, and he died, and she, basically just had to live on her own and figure it out. And, America's hard when you're an immigrant on your own. Like, really hard. Yeah. She has this car that she calls a Mercedes-Benz, but it is not. It's a station wagon that she glued a Mercedes-Benz thing onto.
Nice.
And
I like that.
Yeah, it's hilarious. And she's like one of my favorite actors right now. I saw her in just a few other things. One thing was called Love. I didn't even watch the whole thing. It's a comedy on Netflix. But she was one of the main side characters, and every scene she was in was so fucking funny. She is so hilarious, and her chemistry with Craig Robinson is great. Craig Ferguson. Completely different show that would be. But they are great, and they start killing the snakes for this competition that they can get $22,000, which is exactly what he needs to buy the farmland to start this company. And so that's kind of basically all the elements to this, except for they meet this guy named Brock, who's also doing the snake hunting. And he's not quite so bad that I'd call him a Florida man, but he wears the camo.
He could be.
He is a Floridian. He's playing a Floridian. And he's played by Scott MacArthur. Every line that this guy had cracked me up, but I think it was more for the writing because he's very yelly, and that's not usually what I like. But I laughed almost every time he opened his mouth. So, obviously he was delivering it well enough for me to laugh. He and his son, Corby, are a team, and they make YouTube videos of him hunting these snakes. His storyline is actually really sweet after a while, but he's definitely this grody character, and they all become friends in the end, but it's like very complicated because they're in this competition against each other. Lots of fun. Just watched it over the last 2 days, so just barely made it in this episode. Go watch Killing It. I really enjoyed it. I thought the way it ended was honestly kind of strange. I hope there's more.
Hey, I don't know if I would watch it. It sounds very entertaining, but at the same time, it doesn't sound like something I would be like,
it's offbeat now. It's offbeat, so, not everybody's into that, but I really had a great time watching it.
Nice.
Not much complaints. It gets a face.
Nice. Well, to wrap it up then, allow me to talk about a film that my audience had a lot of fun with, that I did not have fun with, and that's Violent Night. Yeah, Violent Night, directed by Tommy Wirkola, written by Pat Casey and Josh Miller. It's a 87 North Productions. That's the John Wick guy.
Okay.
David Leitch.
Gotcha.
He does a lot of films. A lot of his films and the films that come from 87 North Productions focus on action. There's a lot about stunts and stunt work, and a lot of good action set pieces. And so Violent Night is a comedy Christmas film. It's that wonderful time of the season. Of course, Violent Night, it's obviously a ripoff Silent Night. It is a violent comedy Santa Claus specific film where Santa Claus is played by David Harbour. And Santa Claus is it is pretty funny. And he is a drunken, tired Santa Claus. He's got a long life. There's a lot of mythology around this Santa Claus, which I really like. The film does go into kind of a backstory about his past. It's like a lot of Norse. I think it was Norse background and stuff like that. They focus on, and he talks about his hammer called Skull Crusher. He used to have a hammer called Skull Crusher, and he was a warrior before he was Santa Claus. Before he became, this fella who visits everybody around the whole world and gives presents to all the nice kids, and nothing or cold to the naughty kids. And this Santa, though, he's just tired, and he's very, very drunk all the time, and he's slurring all the time to the point where I couldn't really understand what David Harbour was saying, and I was actually wondering. I feel bad. Like, I know that David Harbour was just a really good actor, but there were moments where I was like, was David Harbour actually drunk making this? Because he's slurring so much that me, who I'm partially deaf, if you don't know, in my left ear, to the listeners out there, that is, like, I do need subtitles. I know I probably do. And that does kind of sometimes make my theater going experience a little less fun.
Right.
So maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe I didn't understand some of the jokes that were being made. But like a lot of the jokes were just stupid and dirty jokes that I just don't typically enjoy.
Sure.
So like the film opens up with Santa leaving a bar. The classic Santa way. He goes up to the roof, gets in his sleigh with the reindeer, and he flies away. And the barkeep runs up because she just thinks that the drunk man is going up to the top of the roof to just jump off the building. So she runs up there to stop him, and she sees the sleigh and she sees the reindeer, and she's like, "Oh my God, it's Santa!" And then he vomits on her. Oh, and it's very it's one of those films.
I see.
And if you get through that opening and you're laughing, then the film is going to be for you, and you realize that. If you get through it like me and you're like, oh no, it's one of the gross out comedy kind of films, isn't it? And it's not really. That's like the grossest joke they tell. But like that was my attitude initially from the intro. You're probably going to have more of like my time, which is like a lot of the jokes don't hit. They're kind of just like low hanging fruit jokes.
Yeah, why would you start with that? I feel like a vomit gag that you have to work up to make it work. Like it's not necessary. It's never necessary. No. I will tell you that much. But
and of course, they follow their vomit joke up with a poop joke, where he's on the rooftop with the reindeer, and as he's walking away, he slips and poop, and he's like, "Oh, who did this? Oh, was it you? Oh, come on, Donner, what the heck, man?" And like my audience is just going like, "Oh my God! Oh, ha ha! Poop joke! He slipped and poop!" And I'm just like, this is where we're at as a society. Like this is comedy to us, and like I'm just bored with it. And a lot of the jokes are like that, and like a lot of people are praising it. It's getting a lot of good reviews from critics, which is good. It's just, I don't know. This is the kind of film that I walked out of, and it's very much a ripoff of Die Hard. Like Santa's basically going about his day, dropping off presents, and then the building he's at, this rich kid's building. Hold on, let me get the kid up, because she was good. I will admit the child actor was good.
She was on the nice list.
Yeah, exactly. She was No, there it is. Trudy Lightstone, played by Leah Brady. I think that's her. I think it was Trudy Lightstone. Very nice kid. Her parents, though, her family, rich people, are under siege by, again, John Leguizamo. John Leguizamo is back. He is the villain. He's playing Mr. Scrooge, the leader of a bunch of mercenaries who have a gripe against this family. And they also know this family is rich and has close to like $300 million or whatever in hard cash. on location at their building, in a safe in the basement of their mother's house. The mother is Gertrude Lightstone, played by Beverly D'Angelo. Very mean-spirited, cold to her entire family. You know, she's all about the money, all about the business, everything like that. And Trudy's parents, Jason Lightstone, played by Alex Hazel, and the wife Linda Matthews, played by Alexis Louder, they're going through some rough patches. You know, they're in a divorce area. Mm-hmm. Like, they're not actually divorcing, or they're not divorced yet. But it seems like that's where it's leading to. They're very estranged. You know, the money, the business, it's tearing them apart. And she's kind of tired of this family. She wants out of this life. But they have, like, one last Christmas. He talks her into it. One last Christmas. The family gets together and immediately gets kidnapped and besieged by John Leguizamo and his mercenaries. And from there, it becomes a very much Die Hard ripoff, where, you know, you have, you know, your Bruce Willis character of drunken Santa Claus now having to be the hero to save this nice girl. She's on his list, and she's begging him, you know, like, for her present for Christmas, can he get her parents back together? And if he can't do that, can he at least save her and the family? And now he's going to try to save her and the family. He gets himself a hammer, and he goes to town on these terrorists, you know, or these mercenaries, not terrorists, but, you know, and it's violent. It has a lot of that John Wick energy where it's like, you know, he's beating the shit out of people and there's blood flying everywhere. And, you know, he uses a lot of Christmas objects and, like, you know, ornaments and stuff like that as weapons. You know, pretty much anything that's, like, Christmassy, I'm sure he uses as a weapon. And it's kind of cool. I really did. There are parts of this film that I enjoyed. There's a lot of good moments. But the comedy and the script and everything else, like, everything this movie is trying to be, being a comedy, just fell flat for me. I just could not care. Mm. But my audience ate it the fuck up. They really loved it. So, you know, it's like, take all of my words with a grain of salt, I guess. Like, it's fine film. You know, there's a lot of calls for it to be a franchise now, I guess. Like, David Harbour wants to make it a franchise, and the producers, David Leitch, they're all on board for it, and audiences seem to love it, and critics seem to like it, I guess. I just couldn't.
Well, I'll give it a shot, I guess, because sometimes we do differ, but I feel like I'm going to agree with you after I get into it.
And the ending really kind of pissed me off. Like, there's something that happens at the end that you have your typical Christmas moment, where everybody's like, oh, I believe, you know, in Santa Claus and the wonder of Christmas. You know, you have that Christmassy moment at the end, and something happens after that has, like, no explanation, and it makes no sense, and I'm just like it really just left me kind of, like, confused, bored, and upset. But, like, I will be honest, I can see if they do a franchise and they continue to explore further this, like, backstory of Santa Claus, like this Norse mythology and everything that he was a part of before he became Santa Claus. I do think there's cool stuff there. Like, I give it 2 stars because it really bored me, but I can kind of understand a franchise coming from this. But I don't know. They got to leave the stupid humor behind, because, like, I don't know. It sounds really highbrow of me and you know, pompous, but, like, I don't like fart jokes and poop. Like, there's a time and a place for them. Like, Lighthouse figured out the fart jokes perfectly. Like, Willem Dafoe farting in the lighthouse is, like, the funniest fucking thing ever. Like, it was perfect.
I think poop humor can work. Not if it gets all over the person. We know nobody wants that. But the stepping in the poop joke can work if people are already, you know, having a good time laughing.
Right.
and
if they even bring it back around into the plot later. Let's say he's, like, running away and he slips in more poop and it causes him to get caught or something. Like, if you establish him stepping in poop in the beginning, and then bring it around to be plot important, then my complaint is moot. You know, I can't complain about there being that kind of a scene.
It would honestly be pretty funny, too, if he stepped up and there was reindeer poop on his red coat.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, we made it work better.
There's ways to use it. It's just, they don't see it that way. They know that American audiences will just eat up a poop joke because we're just fucking fiends.
Yeah, we're stupid.
And I think that's been Bangers and Ash. You are the Faceless Leon.
And you are the Green Traveler from Gorsh. Safe travels.
NDA, that's a fake place.
Yeah,
it's not real.
Not a real
Just know,
place.
guys.
But, you know, have a good time trying to find it. Safe travels. And good riddance.